Hi guys, so this is going to be my first ever book review. So I'm a little nervous and I think I've recorded this about 4 different times, maybe 5, because I keep rambling and getting lost and off track. But that's beside the point. I've decided to go with one of my favourite books recently. It is called How to Kill Your Best Friend by Lexie Elliott. I've had quite a few questionable looks and comments, having people see that when I'm reading it or on my bookshelf since. I can assure you do not need to contact my best friend. I do not have any intention of killing them. It's just a really good book and I would recommend it to anyone. I rated it 5 stars on Goodreads. I think it's nearly 4 stars. But yeah, I personally voted it a 5 star. So I'll read the blurb and then I'll get into telling you my thoughts. So, A Friendship to Die For. Georgie, Lissa and Bronwyn have been best friends since they met on their college swimming team. Now Lissa is dead, drowned off the coast of the remote island where her second husband owns a luxury resort. But could a star open water swimmer really have drowned? Brought together for her memorial, Lissa's friends and grieving husband find themselves questioning the circumstances around Lissa's death and each other. As the weather turns ominous, trapping the guests on the island, it slowly dawns on them that Lissa's death was only the beginning. Nobody knows who they can trust, or if they'll make it off the island alive. So the blurb might have given it away. This is a mystery thriller, crime thriller, and yeah, I'm kind of hooked on these. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, it definitely one of the best books I read last year, and I really enjoyed it. So you start with this group of friends, obviously, as I just said. They all met at uni, part of the swimming team, and Lissa and Georgie were really close. Like, they were very similar. So I think you've got 6, 7 main characters, depending on if you count the dead people. Georgie, Lissa, Bronwyn, Duncan, Adam, and then you've got Lissa's 2 husbands. The first is deceased, and the second owns this luxury resort that they're all staying at for her memorial. The resort owner's name is Jem, and him and Lissa have moved there to start again. Duncan is actually in charge of their finances, as you find out in the book. And yeah, it's as you'd expect, really. You've moved to this place, you've opened a resort, and you both enjoy swimming. So yeah, let's start reviewing from the start. That's a lot of starts. The story opens with Georgie doing something no one really wants to do. I've been there before, and it is, I'm sure it's something from everyone's nightmares. But yeah, she's heading to her friend's memorial, in this case her best friend's memorial. And I mean, it's always hard to head to a funeral or something like that, but I think it's especially hard when you're not expecting it, when it's so sudden. And they're quite young in the story, and so it's, yeah, they've already seen far too many deaths at this point. But anyway, the question is, how did Lissa die? The theory of many is that she went swimming one night and never returned, presumably drowned. However, their group of friends are experienced open water swimmers. The only reason they assume she's drowned is because she was last seen getting into the water by some fishermen. The area was quite dodgy where she was getting in. It was this little harbour that most people know not to swim in because of how dangerous the currents are. So it's kind of expected that she passed away. But even with the strong currents and the danger of the location, Georgie isn't convinced because of how strong a swimmer Lissa is. And you kind of get swept along with that. Well, did she actually drown? So the whole book, you spend time trying to guess, did she drown? Was she murdered? How was she murdered if she was last seen at sea? I think they talk about her going missing in, or them finding this bright red swimsuit that belonged to her because she had it as a joke for Baywatch. But so if that was in the sea and she was seen getting into the sea with it, where was she? So while trying to make sense of the events in her head, Georgie begins to wonder if maybe something a little more sinister is at play. Like I said, did someone, was she murdered and then thrown back into the ocean? Did something happen with some of their friends? Because bear in mind, this happened when all of them were together. Georgie unfortunately couldn't make this reunion because of how far away she was, or at least that's what she told them was the reason. But she couldn't make this reunion, so they were all together when she went missing. So you've got 4 different suspects. You have Bronwyn, you have Jem, you have Adam, and you have Duncan. Did any of them kill her? Was there motive? Yes, of course there was motive. You're reading a crime thriller. Everyone has a motive. I will admit, I thought it was the husband for the majority of the book. I changed my guess at the last minute. But I'm not going to tell you if I was right the first time, if I was right the last time. I'm just not going to tell you. You're going to have to read it if you want to know. But yeah, could Bronwyn or one of the boys really be capable of killing their friend? Yes, the book is titled How to Kill Your Best Friend, but that doesn't mean someone actually did it. It just means they might have thought about it, which kind of leads to one of the really cool aspects of this book, in my opinion anyway. At the beginning of each section of the book, there is a little part titled How to Kill Your Best Friends, and then it's got like method. So this one's method 1, accident. And all of those are written in first person as well. So yeah, you've got things like accidents, battery, assaults, drowning, which kind of makes sense because they're all swimmers. But yeah, so I think that's a really cool feature of this book that not every book has. It's something unique, and when I'm reading, because I've read so much, if I find something that's unique about it, I will latch on and really enjoy it. Or at least if it's a good thing, I really enjoy it. And I liked the idea of that. I thought it was really good. But yeah, so this group of friends, everyone, or at least for me, everyone has this kind of group of friends. They've known you forever. They probably know you better than you know yourself. I know I've got a couple of people like that. But it does mean that they know you inside out. They know all your secrets. If they wanted to blackmail you, they probably could do it about 5 times over. And that's the case in this. So, especially the group from uni, they have secrets on each other that could cause quite a bit of damage if they were to come out. And yeah, when you're friends with someone, that's par for the course. But if you stop being friends with them, that's when it becomes dangerous. And if maybe Lissa knew something she wasn't supposed to, or she remembered something and was telling them, oh yeah, well, I'm going to tell now. Something could have happened. But yeah, so you have all these interlocking relationships, and the friendships between this group of characters is really good. It's a work of art, basically. I love books that are character driven. So the fact that she played on the relationships that well in this book was great for me, because yeah, I latched onto them. The relationships were believable. It's like there are so many different layers, and she even got the point that in larger groups like that, you're closer to different people, especially at different stages of your life. So you could be really close with this one person at the start of your friendship, but towards the end, you find you're even closer to this other person because you're going through the same stuff, or this stuff is happening. So Georgie and Lissa at the very start of uni, and throughout most of it actually, were so close. They were 2 peas in a pod. They just got each other. Or at least that's how Bronwyn saw it. And everyone else for that matter. But yeah, you saw how they just latched onto each other, and their relationships with other characters weren't as strong. And I thought that was really interesting because not many people have it that way. Even myself, when I'm writing, I try to have every like two characters have some relationship with each other if they're in the same friendship group. But that's not always the case. You can be in a group of friends and not talk to someone for months, but you're still friends. You're just not as close as you would be with this other friend. But yeah, it's interesting to see the different relationships between the members of the group and how that's handled, especially when you factor in the fact that Lys's first husband was also a part of that group originally. He went to uni with them, so they all knew him as well and all had relationships with him, which means some of them who were closer to him have a strange relationship with her second husband, because it's one of those things, isn't it? It's awkward. But yeah, I think the characters in this book were part of the reason I really enjoyed it. There are a few cliches, like they are trapped on this remote island because of a storm, and that's towards the climax where, yeah, you're trapped, you can't get out, you've got to see this through. Yeah, the very climax, there is this massive storm. Everyone else has got off the island who was visiting, and they're still trapped at this villa. There was someone, the person responsible for the crime broke into Georgie's, I think it was, her villa, and wrote on the mirror in lipstick. So yeah, it's one of those things, like, there are cliches, but I think it's more how you handle the cliches when you're writing. And it's a bit of fun, isn't it? When you've got a cliche, you're trying to use it to your advantage. But yeah, it's just one of those things. There's so many crime thrillers out there that there are going to be a few that slip through the cracks. What else to say? So it's also interesting to see how they've all got the swimming in common, which is probably what has helped them stay close since, because whenever they meet up, they always go open water swimming, and they stick to the same, like, positions, I guess you call them. So you have the same people in front, the same people to the side. Obviously a few of them have fallen out of it, so whenever they meet up, they're a bit slower than they used to be, so the whole group has to pace themselves a bit more. And they're getting older, so yeah, not all of them are going to be swimming as constantly as they were when they were teenagers. But it's interesting to see where all their different lives have led them as well, because yeah, you've got an accountant, you've got a stay-at-home mum, you've got Georgie, who's got this super powerful job that's taken her to New York, which is why she can't meet up anymore. And then yeah, it's interesting, basically, the relationships, and I think I said that, and the development of these characters. And then you've got the fact that Georgie is constantly questioning, well, you were all together. How could this have happened? We're good swimmers. Why would she have put herself in that position in the first place? And then she starts getting these emails. So I don't know why her best friend would have been emailing her work email address. That seems a bit weird to me. I'm fairly sure if you ask my friends where I worked, they wouldn't be able to tell you, let alone my work email. They tend to just contact me on my phone or personal email. That's kind of how you do things. No, for some reason, Lissa was sending Georgie emails on her work email. But because she was swearing, they were getting blocked by the by that system that's like, oh, we think this might be a dodgy email. So they hold it for a certain number of days. And yeah, so they are blocked by this. But as she starts getting them, she starts putting more and more pieces together and becoming more and more suspicious of different people. And she starts understanding where Lissa's headspace was, and that she probably really should have been there because her friend was not good. And yeah, it makes you even more suspicious because some of what she's saying, you're like, oh, well, that could have been a reason why she wasn't. Yeah. So it slowly starts opening up a bit more about why it could possibly not have just been she drowned. Or at the very least, why someone drowned her. But yeah, I don't know why it was work email. I think personal email would have been sufficient. But then I guess not everyone has like that net on their personal email. Yeah, it's just one of those things. So you've got this environment that not many of them are familiar with. You've got everyone is staying in a different villa, so they're all kind of spread out. And when this storm hits, obviously everything is happening at once, and you don't know who's going to be killed next, if anyone is. You don't know if the person who's dead was killed or whether it was an accident, like some kind of freak accident. And you're constantly questioning, is the narrator reliable? Because you swap between Ron and Georgie's point of view, and you're like, well, are you telling me the truth? Is this something that I should be watching? Should I be monitoring this? Is this person a suspect? Well, what does this mean? And you are constantly questioning your own sanity by the end of it, really. And I don't want to give too much away, but yeah, it's one of those where there is a major like twist at the end. And yeah, I found that quite interesting. I don't know how everyone else feels about plot twists, but I think because of the amount of crime fiction I've read, for me, if something can catch me off guard, that's definitely a perk. That is, yeah, you've done a good job. But yeah, that's probably why I really like this book. And yeah, I would recommend anyone interested to read it. Go and buy it. If you like crime thrillers, this is your kind of thing. It won't actually tell you how to kill your best friend. I should point that out. We do not condone that. They are good people generally. But yeah, I mean, atmospheric, sinister, and totally captivating. From like is one of the reviews, and I can kind of get it. I sat and read it really quickly, and I'm not gonna admit that the cover was part of what drew me to this book. But yeah, I love beachy. I've really been getting into the beachy crime novels. Like, yeah, I've read quite a few recently, especially the ones that go back and forth in time. I find that really interesting, which I think this has possibly started for me because, like I said, you've got the first husband who died under suspicious circumstances because he had an allergic reaction and his EpiPen didn't work. Is it connected? Could it be connected? You'll have to read and find out. I'll speak to you guys at some point. I'll do another book review. Okay, bye.